Hey everybody, it's Judy Klock here at Stampin' with Crafty Klock. It's Thursday and I usually come to you live, but tonight I am busy getting ready for my vacation, so I pre-recorded this and I hope you enjoy the cards I'm going to make. Today I'm going to work with the Watercolor Shapes. This is in the annual catalog and I kind of passed over it at first, and then I kind of was, as I was going back through the catalog for like the third and fourth time, this one really caught my eye, and I looked online and I saw what people were doing with it, and I said, I think I need this one because I think it's going to be a pretty thing to work with. So we're going to do two cards tonight, as always. One is going to be very simple stamping. We're just going to work with stamps, ink, and paper. That's it. And then we're going to get in a little bit more fancy with some heat embossing. So here's our first card. This is nothing more than just taking a couple of those shapes and really just kind of making our own background on just basic white. So, but I like it because it's so colorful and it really does pop. All right, so let's go ahead, and then we're going to showcase our gorgeous hand-penned DSP that's on sale now till August 2nd. So make sure you get yours. And a little bit of heat embossing. And I'm going to show you, I don't have black embossing powder, but I knew I wanted these to be black. So I'm going to show you how I did it using clear embossing powder. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with our first card. We have a base here of Bermuda Bay that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. To the inside, I'm going to add a piece of basic white that is 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm not going to put anything on the inside. I'm just going to sort of make this an all-purpose card. You can use it for a thank you card, a just thinking of you card, a get well card, a hey, my dog ate my homework card when your kids go back to school, you know, whatever you really want to use it for. And I can't even get this card open. Okay, there we go. All right, don't forget, leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, a heart, something, so I know you're here, and I will enter you in for a chance to win these cards on Monday. I always do my drawing on Monday. I give people the weekend to catch up. All right, so now we have for the front another piece of our basic white that's 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to pull in my photopolymer mat. And don't mind my little messy scrap paper on there. I've been busy working. So to this, we're going to stamp in Flirty Flamingo, Granny Apple Green, I don't know if you can see these here, Coastal Cabana, and Mango Melody. All right, so let's start with our big square shape in our Flirty Flamingo. Now I noticed that you'll notice that these stamps, they do leave some, like I guess uninked or less inked spots on them, and I think that's intentional. I don't think there's anything wrong for it. Now these colors are going to be very bold, so if you want something a little less bold, you may want to stamp off first. I kind of like the bold colors, so I am going to leave them. Okay, and this one I kind of stamped off a little bit down there. I didn't do the whole square. All right, next, let's go with some Granny Apple Green and our skinny little rectangles. Because who doesn't love Granny Apple Green? I do. So I picked up my farm share today, and there's lots of apples and peaches in it, so I'm pretty excited. I see some peach cobbler in our future, and maybe some apple pies or some apple sauce. I have to decide what I'm going to do with all of them. But the farm is only like 3 miles from here, and I love going there. I go every other week, and I get a great big basket of fresh produce. It's awesome. Next, I'm going to come in with some Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to stamp those little circles. If I could find what I did with that little circle stamp. There it is. It was hiding. And I'm just going to kind of stamp these. Again, I'm just kind of stamping them random. Sometimes we're stamping them over the other colors. Oh no. All right, well. Oh, sugar. I dropped it. Let's start all over. This is why we do paper has 2 sides. Because when you do that, when you drop your stamp and you get that shadow, you can start over. Don't drop your stamp and get a shadow. That would be bad. But luckily, this is easy enough to kind of redo. Okay. Okay, come back in here with our Granny Apple Green. What's everybody got going on for this coming weekend? Anything exciting? Anybody going anywhere? Anybody have any plans? Concerts are back. Restaurants are open. I think everybody's just ready to be out and about. I spent the afternoon running errands. I had to go return some stuff at Kohl's and had to do a Target run. Why is it that you can never get out of Target for like less than $100? I don't understand it. Don't forget, Celebration starts on Tuesday, August 3rd. Who's excited for Celebration? And did you know that if you join under Celebration, you get to pick any bundle? Well, there's certain bundles. You get to pick a bundle from a select list to add to your starter kit for free. You don't pay anything for it. So isn't that a great deal? Who's ready to join the Crafty Foxes? We want you. We have a good time. I just met one of my team members for lunch the other day. She promoted to Bronze Elite, so we're all happy for her. And I told her that as part of being Bronze Elite, she gets an increased discount. And she goes, "Oh, please don't tell my husband." I'm like, "Your secret is safe with me." So we're just going to stamp. Now, this is the Biggest Wish stamp set, and this was one of the optional add-on classes that people could have selected for my upcoming Creative Escape Stampin' Retreat. You can still register for the in-person Creative Escape, but the to-go portion is closed. So if you're in the Frederick County, Virginia area and you want to come on out for the day, come on out. We'd love to have you. All right, that's it for this one. It was really very quick and easy. And you'll see how just by using those different colors, and I stamped the sentiment, in Bermuda Bay to pick up the cardstock. That's it for this one, and that's my mistake on the other side, but no one will ever know, because, well, except you, because you were all watching it. But nobody else will know that we had a little bobble on the backside. And there we go. There's card number one. Simple stamping. Really just our stamps, our ink, and our paper. Nothing but that. Okay, that's done. Let's go ahead and get started on card number two. This is our we're using Fresh Freesia 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Okay, and on the inside, I am going to add a piece of our basic white. Again, I'm not writing on the inside of these, simply because I want to leave this blank for sort of an all-occasion, all-purpose card. I made a little bit of mistake scoring it, but that's okay. We'll put that there, and it'll be just fine. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's stamp on this one. Now, on this one, I did the circle. I think on this one, I'm going to do the rectangle. So I'm going to stamp that in our pale papaya. I'm sorry, not our pale papaya, our Fresh Freesia. The card originally started out as pale papaya, but it just wasn't working. So we switched it up to Fresh Freesia. See, sometimes you start out with one thing and then it just, you're like, yeah, it's just not working the way I wanted to, and you switch it up. And then the vision in your head, which could be a scary place for most people, comes to life. Okay. Yeah, you don't want to be in my head. That's a very scary place. Okay. Let's see how this one works out. Now, for this one, we need to bring in our stamp apparatus. So I'm going to bring that in. Let me put our card base aside for a minute. Let's get our workspace clear. Okay, now, I'm going to lay this down here. I'm going to make sure, I'm actually going to put it up towards the top. All right, I'm going to make sure, don't ever, if you're working with your stamp apparatus, don't let the magnets touch, because if they touch, they stick together and they're really hard to get unstuck, and I've broken a couple of pairs trying to get them unstuck. Okay, so I'm going to place that there. I think I like it there. And this is our hand-penned stamp set. So we used Biggest Wish for our first card, and we're using hand-penned for our second card. So first I'm going to ink this up in our Tuxedo Black, Memento Tuxedo Black. I want to make sure I get nice, good color on there. Okay. I'm going to stamp that. And the reason I'm using the stamp apparatus is because we're going to come back in and we're going to, after we clean off our stamp, we're going to stamp over it in Versamark. Because remember, I said I wanted to make this heat embossing, but I did not have black embossing powder. So if I use the clear embossing powder, I will get those gorgeous black embossed lines. All right, so let's clear off our stamp. Okay, woo! Love these chamois. They're so good, so versatile. You can really get in there and clean it out. All right, let me grab my Versamark. And I'm going to stamp this up. Okay, there we go. And because it's in my Stamparatus, I'm just going to go and stamp right over my stamped image with the Versamark. Now, I am going to take my magnets off for a minute because I'm going to use this to put on my clear embossing powder. Full disclaimer, this is not the Stampin' Up! Embossing powder. I didn't have that one, but I had another one from before I was a Stampin' Up! Demo that I'm going to finish. Okay, but Stampin' Up! Does sell a clear embossing powder. All right, now let me just put this embossing powder away before we go ahead and heat set that. Okay, I always like to make sure I put my embossing powder away because otherwise it gets all over everything. Okay, let's move this out of the way. All right, you ready for the magic to happen? Here we go. So now it looks kind of gray, doesn't it? Here we go. Look at that. As the clear embossing powder sets, the black shows through. So now if we had stamped this in blue, the blue would have come through. If we had stamped this in red, the red would have come through. So if you ever want to emboss in a color that you don't necessarily have, go ahead and stamp it in the dark color or whatever color ink you want. You need your Stamparatus though. Then stamp over it with Versamark, put on your clear embossing powder, and voila, you have embossing powder or embossing in any color that you want. All right, let's finish putting our card together. So I have a piece of our designer series paper. This is 4 by about 2 3/4. This one might be about 3 inches. Let's see. That's 3 inches, and this one is 3 inches, and that's okay because they're going to overlap just a bit. Somewhere I had a piece of, I see my piece of my black strip. All right. Now I'm going to put this on the bottom. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this on top, and this is going to lay over our designer series paper. That's okay, because we're going to put that black strip of basic black cardstock over where the two meet. Okay, just kind of make sure it matches up. There we go. Now I want to put, this is 4 inches by 5 5/8 of an inch, a little bit bigger than a 1/2 inch. So to this, I'm going to add some pale papaya ribbon. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back, just like this. Okay, and we're going to wrap it around to the front. You probably need about, I don't know, maybe 5 inches. Not a little bit bigger than 4 inches, 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to put a strip of tear and tape on the back to make sure I hold that down, because we have the ribbon back there. So really our adhesive may not work so well because we've got the ribbon, our Stampin' seal, but this will work. Or you could use liquid glue. You could either or would work. In the interest of time and I guess not making a mess, I'm going with the tear and tape. All right, I'm going to lay this right over where the two meet, being careful not to cover up my stamped image. And then I'm going to take a little bit, I'm going to leave this on the bolt because I don't know how much I'm going to need, but I want to tie a bow right there. So I don't know, maybe like 10 inches total to get a really nice bow on there. And you see that I'm tying it upside down. And the reason I tie it upside down is because when I flip it over the right way, like right side up, I guess, the bow will be going in the ties on the bow will be going in the direction I want, which is towards the bottom of the card. At least that's the theory. Probably because I'm doing it right now, it's not going to work out that way. And I don't think I made it big enough. Nuts. Well, we're gonna make it work. So just bear with me for a minute. There we go. Okay, a little bit smaller than I would have wanted. I would have wanted a little bit bigger tail, but you know. Now, if I flip it this way, and then I can just sort of play with it a little bit. I want to make sure that I get some nice ribbon and some nice tails on there. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a pretty bow. And then I just cut this on a little angle, and there we have it. So I hope you enjoyed this little interlude we had today. I will be taking next week off. I will not be doing a video or pre-recording one for you. We're going to go visit my in-laws, so I'm very excited. We haven't seen them in 2 years. I'll be back in 2 weeks. I hope you all have a great week. Don't forget, celebration is coming up on Tuesday. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.